Hey guys, welcome back to another season of Discovery Class Guide. This is the 7th episode and we are covering the Warlock. We can't postpone it anymore. We got so many votes on this class. It seems to be the most anticipated class to play in Season of Discovery. The Warlock has so many potential specs. Today I managed to go over 4 specs that are totally different than each other. You can play them differently. We have the following. We have a Affliction lock, we have AoE spec pumping lock, we have a pure fire lock, which there wasn't the case to be in Classic in the past. And we also have something brand new, tank lock, which apparently is going to be the new main tank. Probably it's going to be all the way there with the warrior and so on. So with so much to cover, let's get quickly into our first spec, which is the Affliction lock. We're going to go over the gear quickly. And I'm just going to specify that I'm going to focus on a lot of shadow damage on this spec because shadow damage scales quite nice with the dots. Starting with the goggles, we have the Spell Power Goggles Extreme. Don't worry too much about it, we're gonna find the recipe. The mats are really easy to acquire. They're 2-star rubies, which we can find from Mithril, and 4 thick leathers, which we can skin from high-level beasts. Moving to a Spectral Necklace of the Eagle, we need the stats as we are choosing to go for a lot of Shadow Rat items. And if you cannot find the max level Shadow Rat item, which is 25 shoulders, you can go for 23 shoulders or for 22 shoulders. They will have 9 or 10 Shadow Power as well. Here we're trying to get potentially the highest green gear of the Shadow Rat we can find. If you want to the chest, there's sometimes really good blue chests, such as the Robes of Arugal. You can sacrifice the 16 spell power for the chest of Arugal if you get it. If not, just go for pure shadow damage. Bracers as well of the Shadow Rat, and also the Staff of the Shadow Rat. We have so far a lot of shadow power. And on the right side here, you can see that we are focusing more on stats rather than on pure spell power. We still have like Hands of Darkness, which are with spell power, but then we focus a lot on stats so we can balance the lock. We want to have stats to stay alive, and we want to have mana to be able to tap into some of that. Night Watch pantaloons for Alliance from Morbid Fell quest, but you can get something of the Eagle for level 25. Spider Silk boots, or if you can manage to upgrade them from the first raid, extra planar Spider Silk boots. Make sure to upgrade them. They're really good. They're going to be base all the way until 40. And maybe at level 40 with tailoring, you're going to be able to get a new pair or upgrade them. In terms of rings, we have the Seal of Ring for the stats, and obviously Deep Fathom Ring. If you can find one of those Plains rings with each stamina 3 intellect, it would be great. Invoker's Void Pearl, 8 spell power trinket from BFD. Arena Grandmaster, if you main it and you play only one character, probably it's worth getting it. If you level fast to 25, you might be able to find a couple of layers with the chest there. And obviously a random one, it doesn't matter that much. On the first spec, which is the Affliction spec, we are not going to use as many wand shots as we would expect. Moving on to the talents for the Affliction lock, we have the following. 5 points into an improved corruption, which is going to make it instant. This is mostly for multi-dotting and applying on multiple targets. I went for 5 out of 5 suppression, because the bosses we fight in BFD are going to be many levels above, so we need a lot of hit as much as we can get, especially since we have a lot of other Affliction spells that we're going to cast on the target. Improve life type, it's a must, so we can have always mana to give healers an opportunity to use their new spells. Amplify Curse with Curse of Agony. The only thing I see here is that the Curse of Agony, it's only rank 2 at level 25 because we learn it at level 18. Corruption, on the other hand, it's we learn a new rank at level 24. I think it's 222 damage, while this is only like about 180, and it's over a longer distance of time. But based on the amount of spell power we used to have, because that gear that I previously showed you had 111 spell power at level 25, combined with Amplify Curse, it can give us a lot of damage. Obviously 1 point into Nightfall for that instant Shadowbolt to weave in every now and then. Talking about runes, for the chest runes, we went for the Master Channeler. Your Drain Life, it's no longer channeled, lasts 15 seconds with a 15 seconds cooldown, so you can have it permanently up like a buff. Costs 100% more mana. and heals you for 50% more each time it deals damage. So not only that we're going to be able to tap, but we're going to be able to heal ourselves once we are multiple dotting the target. We will have like corruption on the target, we're going to have agony on the target, we're going to have drain life on the target since it's no longer channeled, and we also going to have, soon we're going to talk about it. So master channeler, huge. I was thinking if probably it's worth more to get points into improved drain life, but I guess it's debatable. This is a basic spec here. Try to work with it and see what works for you. On the leg run, Everlasting Affliction, it's huge. It's actually huge because Drain Life, Drain Soul, Shadowbolt, Shadow Cleave, Searing Pain, Incinerate, and Haunt refreshes the duration of your corruption on the target back to its maximum duration. So if you're only focused on boss damage, you can take the points out of improved corruption and only apply it on the boss, and then it's going to be refreshed by Haunt all the way until the end of the fight. However, 5 out of 5, it's probably good for multiple targets and so on. Everlasting Affliction, always have corruption refreshed on the target. Moving on to the last and the most important, and the thing that is going to make this one our 5th dot, or I don't even know how many dots, is going to be a multi-dot spec. Unleash a Ghostly Soul on enemy, dealing 108 to 127 damage and increasing all shadow damage over time you deal to that target by 20%. When the haunt ends or it's dispelled, you will be healed for all the damage it dealt to your target. So we're getting healed from 2 sources, from the Drain Life, which is now a dot, and from Haunt. Haunt also increases the damage of all of the spells. Amplify Curse with Curse of Agony, Improve Corruption with Haunt. They all have like great synergy, and every now and then we can weave a Shadowbolt in between those. I think Affliction Lock is going to be quite nice to play. And obviously, once you get later to higher levels, is going to be even better. Now let's move to our second spec, which is the AoE Shadow Cleave spec. Let me try to make it here so we can actually see what's going on. 5 points into improved Shadowbolt. Increases your Shadowbolt critical strikes, increase shadow damage dealt to the target by 20% for 4 next non-periodic spell damage. So for 4 more Shadowbolts, right? Then we have reduces the casting time of your Shadowbolt and immolate spells by 0.5 seconds, and your so far by 2 seconds. And then we have Devastation, 5 points, 5% critical strike damage. So it synergizes with this one, right? And this one synergizes with this one. It's a nice, good... I mean, you don't really have a lot of options in this situation. And here I chose Shadowburn for an extra finisher, damage dealer, pumper. This is more like a cleave spec, so you don't really need it, but I didn't know exactly what to get. We had a couple of options here. Either we go for Destructive Reach, which is 10% range to destruction spells, which could be good, right? Because this is mostly a trash AoE farm spec, right? Or even PvP spec, I don't know. And then all we can get for 1 point and improve the Imp Firebolt, which is gonna reduce the casting time by 0.5 seconds for the Imp. But I prefer to get probably Shadowburn, an extra instant ability that can cause a lot of damage. To see how crazy this spec is, the first rune is going to be called Demonic Tactics, increases the melee and spell critical strike chance of you and your pet by 10%. Keep in mind, melee, the spell critical strike of you and your pet. So I guess this Demonic Tactics would make sense with Improved Firebolt, as the Imp will crit as well a lot. But all of 3 of them are viable. I mean, they're situational. The second rune, we have 10% chance from there. Demonic Grace. Surge with Fell Energy, increasing your pet and your own dodge chance by 30%. And your chance to critical strike with all attacks by 305. I'm not sure exactly how much is that, but I would assume it's 30%. It lasts 6 seconds. I think it's 30%. 305, I'm not sure exactly what it means. By 305, by 300%, by... who knows? But in theory, you have 10% crit from here. You have a lot of crit from here, not sure exactly how much. You have crit from here, and suddenly we go to the creme de la creme of this spec. It's the Shadowbolt Volley. Your Shadowbolt now strikes up to 5 targets with a chain distance of 10 yards, but for 20 reduced damage. Now, Shadowbolt Volley here is going to be crazy with Demonic Grace, Demonic Tactics, and Devastation. This is going to be a Shadowbolt spam spec. It's not really performing well at this level. It's going to perform as good because we don't get like the new rank of Shadowbolt. I think the new rank of Shadowbolt is probably at 28. But later on, it's going to be more crazy as at level 40, we're going to be able to tap into Ruin, which is going to increase the critical strike damage bonus of our destruction spells by 100%. This is a Shadow Cleave spec. I don't think a lot of people will play it. However, I do think it's quite great to see the potential of it. Maybe in PvP, maybe in huge AoE packs. Let's move on to the next spec, which is going to be the Fire spec. For the Fire spec, we're gonna have similar gear, Spellpower goggles, a Neck of the Eagle, Magician Mantle, or random piece of shoulders, Fiery Cloak with 9 fire damage, Robes of Argol, Emberstone Staff, Silver Cuff Threads. We're gonna get null casting gloves here with 6 spell power, both Shadow and Fire. Obviously a lot of stats again, extra Panel Spider, Silk Boots. If we can get the rings from Warsong Gulch, because I think the items from Warsong Gulch are going to be available. I think they're going to be modified not to be obtained on Reputation, or if they're going to be obtained on Reputation, going to be on Friendly or Neutral, something like that. But they modified the weapons, and maybe they're going to make something about them. Also, they're going to be new items in Warsong Gulch. The gear is quite similar. Try to see what you can get. The talents are what matters here. One of the more promising DPS specs for Warlock is going to be the Destruction spec, although it might not shine as much as at level 25. Later on at level 40, 50 and even 60, it's going to kill. Now the spec is going to be quite simple. We're going to go for Cataclysm, which reduces the mana cost of your destruction spells by 5%. It's not necessarily something great, it's just that we're not going to pump a lot of Shadowbolt, so this is like what we're forced to go into. Bane, which is going to remove the reduce the casting time of our Immolate, Shadowbolt and Soulfire spells, Immolate by 0.5. Into obviously Devastation, which is 5% overall critical strike chance with Incinerate, and Chaos Bolt, our fire spells. The last point is going to be between Destructive Reach, which is going to increase the range of our destruction spells, Shadow Burn, obviously, and potentially Imp Firebolt. The first rune that we have here is the Lake of Fire. The Rain of Fire also leaves a Lake of Fire on the ground that increases all fire damage you deal and your demon pet deals to affect enemies by 40% for 15 seconds. So it's kind of weird that this is going to be part of our rotation. So probably even if you use like a rank 1 Rain of Fire, which probably is what we're going to have at level 25 anyway, you're going to use it just to be able to pump fire damage by 40%. I just see it like a burst trinket pretty much. Then we have Incinerate, burn your enemy for about 100 to 110 damage and increase all fire damage you deal by 25% for the next 50 seconds. So keep in mind, you have 40% increased from the Lake of Fire and now you have 25% increased from Incinerate. And Incinerate is going to be probably spammable, so you're going to be able to hold this debuff for the entire duration, 25%. Moving into the last rune, the Hand rune, which is the Chaos Bolt. Sends a bolt of chaotic fire at the enemy, dealing 225 to 286 fire damage. Chaos Bolts always hits, so that's why we don't need as much hit on this. Well, we kind of need hit, but we're going to talk about that soon. And its knowledge causes all your fire spells to pierce through absorption effects. Oh boy, this is going to be painful. The amount of damage it does at level 25, it's quite scary. Because people won't have a lot of HP. Most people will be under 1k HP, especially the cloth classes like the mage and so on. Dealing 300 damage with a non-crit, it's kind of crazy. Later on, this spec is the one that is going to become like really deadly. As Ruin, it's going to increase the critical strike damage bonus of all destruction spells by 100%. I would assume like Chaos Bolt and Incinerate were going to be included here, because it's all destruction spells. Later on, we're going to get the fire spell damage, the Ember Storm, another 10% here, which is going to be like 10% out of this is going to be already like 30 damage at the first rank. Imagine that. And we're also going to get Conflagrate at level 40. So level 40 is going to be, well, we're not here to talk about level 40. I'm just here to tell you that this spec is going to be fun. And this is going to be a new way of experiencing Warlock. In Classic, can I even say that? I don't even know. I'm looking forward to play probably a Warlock, and I'm going to test either the Destruction spec or the Affliction or the next spec. And the next spec is going to be one of the most radical changes that I've seen in Season of Discovery so far. Warlock tank. So for the Warlock tank, obviously we need new gear. Most of it is going to be changed. We're going to focus on stats, as there's a spell which increases our armor by 500% and our stats by a lot. So we shift forms basically. And for the helmet, the best in slot is going to be the Deep Dive helmet, which requires about 230 skill. However, if you are a gnome, you're gonna be able to learn the helmet, because gnomes get +5 skills, engineering skills. So at level 25, the cap is going to be 225. At +5 engineering, you're probably going to be able to get a Deep Dive helmet. If not, if you're any other class, you can definitely get the Bright-Eyed Goggles, and that's going to be just fine. 9 stamina, 9 spirit. We need the stats. We need everything. Spectral Necklace of the Eagle. Watcher Mantle of the Eagle. 6 stamina, 6 intellect. And here it's going to go crazy. I think the best in slot for the tank Warlock is going to be the Cape of the Brotherhood. Blizzard specifically said that Warlock tank is going to be based on agility. I guess we're gonna see Warlocks stealing this from rogues, hunters, warriors. I guess it's gonna be best for a lot of classes. You don't have obviously to get this one, but this one seems to be good. Clamweave Tunic, it's an example of what Blizzard prepared for the Warlock tank. As you can see, the cloth chest that has 130 armor. I didn't know exactly for who this was developed in the beginning, but it seems that this was developed for the Warlocks. And you can see the stats that people expect them to have. A lot of armor, because it's going to get increased by 500% into demon form. A lot of stamina. Intellect, obviously, to be able to spam those spells. Shadowbolts, Shearing Pains, and so on. Braces of the Eagle, 4/4. Emberstone Staff for Alliance. If you're Horde, just get the Twisted Chanter Staff. Sanguine Wraps, 5 stamina, 4 intellect. Level 21 gloves. If you can find something better, it's fine. 5 agility enchant, because we're going to benefit a lot from agility. 8 stamina, 8 intellect, cloth belt. Lots of stats on pens as well. There are a pair of pens in wetlands with 11 stamina, 4 intellect from a quest. You can get those as well. More stamina. Extra planar spider silk boots. Just don't use them while you're tanking, because you're reducing the threat that you do. There might be better boots out there, but I would still go for those. Seal of Rain for the multiple stats, including agility, stamina, and intellect. If you don't have this as a Horde, Plains Ring, or the one from Walling Caverns, the ring that drops from the last boss, or even one of 4 agility, 4 stamina of the Eagle. Invoker's Void Pearl. Arena Grandmaster will be huge if you can get it. And a random wand. It doesn't really matter that much which one, because we're not going to wand a lot. Let's go to the talents here. The talents are the following. The way I see them, this is what we got. We're going to go Demonology, 15% stamina. This is huge. We're going to go for Improve Corruption. If you're a AoE target multiple targets, probably applying Corruption on many of them would be good. Improve Life Tap 2 out of 2 into 1 point in Suppression. It's only 2% hit, but I didn't see where else to put it. And I also got like a Improved Void Walker, because it increases the sacrifice. The effectiveness of your sacrifice by 30%, and you get a new rank of sacrifice at level 24, and I think it's close to 600 damage unbuffed. 30% of 600 damage is going to be 200, right? So you're gonna get a shield about 800 damage. So in case of something going wrong, you can probably use sacrifice. Now I'm not sure exactly how Metamorphosis works, but if you don't need those points, you can easily find a better way to put it into an improved health stone, and maybe even get 1 more point into suppression. Let's see the runes. The runes are the following: a Master Channeler, 10% critical strike would be great, and why not when you're tanking more threat, right? But it seems like Master Channeler, Drain Life gives you a lot of health back, and if you apply it on multiple targets, that's going to be even better. I think Master Channeler was supposed to be an Affliction one, but people prefer it over for the tanking spec. Demonic Grace. Surge with fell energy, increasing your pets and own dodge chance by 30%. And your chance to critically strike with all attacks by, we don't know exactly, it lasts 6 seconds. Haven't used it yet, but I'm curious to see how it works. And the most important one, and here we're gonna like metamorphosis. I'm sorry, morph form. Transform you into a demon, increasing armor by 500%. So this is important, as you saw like on our gear build list. We put like on pants 24 armor kits. Those 24 armor kits are going to be increased by 500%. I'm not sure how to do the math, but they're going to be over 100 armor, right? So you can put like if you want on gloves armor kits, or on pants armor kits, or even on boots armor kits. However, I prefer 5 stamina, I think. But everything is going to be increased by 500% armor. Reduces the chance that you'll be critically hit by 6%, increasing your threat by 100%, and increases your mana gained from life tap by 100%. As you can see here, we went 2 out of 2 into a life tap. If we're going to spam a lot of spells, we better have like the mana to back it up. 100% by life tap. Transforming the functionality of some of your abilities. Searing Pain now becomes instant. So you're going to be able to move and cast Searing Pain. This is going to be like basic like sundering or building threat on mobs. And then you have Shadowbolt, which becomes a Shadow Cleave. A shadow melee attack that hits up to 3 nearby enemies, but it has a 6-second cooldown. This is like a cleave with 6-second cooldown. Curse of Recklessness, it also taunts your target, attack you for 3 seconds, but gains 10-second cooldown and rage is reduced to melee. So Curse of Recklessness is your new taunt. Under this form, you have Demon Charge. Charge the enemy and stun it for 1 second. And Demonic Howl, and forces all nearby enemies to focus attack on you for 6 seconds. So you have an AoE taunt. This combined with the other runes like the Master Channeler, Demonic Grace, or even, let's be honest, Demonic Tactics is gonna make a great Warlock tank. This is it, guys. I don't want to make this longer than it's needed. That's what she said. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you're gonna play a Warlock. I think I've just found my 3rd classes I'm gonna play so far. I have a Mage, Paladin, Warlock, and thank you very much again for watching. Find me live at twitch.tv/Frostadamus. Currently I'm playing a bit of Wrath of the Lich King, clearing Icecrown Citadel, Heroic, getting ready for Cataclysm in the future. In the future, we're going to stream a Season of Discovery as well. If you plan to level characters, multiple characters into Season of Discovery, I would recommend to get a guide from Reset XP. The link is in the description. The guide is free 1 to 20, so actually you can level multiple characters 1 to 20 for free. But in the future, if you decide to upgrade once you go to level 40 to level 50 to a guide, just use my code Frostadamus and you can get 5% off. They're some of the best guides on the market. I've been using them ever since Season of Mastery was released, and it's only one-time purchase. I have the same guides. I use them on different launches and so on. Thanks again, guys. Hope you have a lovely rest of the day. We have 2 classes left. It's the Druid and the Shaman. Let me know in the comments which one you want to see next, and until next time, stay frosty. Bye-bye!